Okay, great. So hi, everyone. Thanks for joining this webinar session today with Scaleway and Beagle Security. I'm Jan. I'm international business developer at Scaleway. And I'm sharing the stage today with two special guests. I will just let you introduce yourself, guys. Rejah, maybe.
Hi, I'm Rejah. I'm founder of Beagle Security.
My name's Luke, and I'm the UK Technology Evangelist for the Scaleway Startup Program.
Great. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being there as well. So in today's webinar, so I will start sharing, if fine by you guys. So in today's webinar session, we will talk about how Scaleway protects companies' data in a multi-cloud environment. Just to give you a brief about the agenda, so I will first introduce Scaleway. Then we will move to the topics of resilience and multi-cloud ecosystem. I will hand it over to Rejah, so Rejah can introduce in details who Beagle Security is and how it echoes with the topic of today's webinar. And Beagle Security has onboarding with Scaleway in the startup program. I thought it would be very interesting to have Luke to introduce a little bit more in detail what are the startup programs at Scaleway, especially for the UK territory, as Luke is responsible for the UK. So let's get started. So yes, we are Scaleway, and we are the cloud that makes sense. We are a leading alternative European infrastructure and platform as a service provider. We provide companies with the essential mix of cloud computing resources that's flexible, that's cost effective, secure, and sustainable from an environmental standpoint. We also are the only triple-play cloud provider to offer private data center colocation, dedicated servers, and a modern and elastic public cloud ecosystem. Speaking of ecosystem, our ecosystem is designed to leverage market standards. For example, we are F3 compatible, we have cutting-edge Kubernetes, and we support Terraform. So our cloud is very universal and compatible with market standards, and it's much simpler for our clients. We currently serve more than 300,000 clients over 160 countries, and our services are deployed via 6 data centers, which are located in 3 regions, Paris, Amsterdam, and Warsaw. So let's have a look at the resilience topic. So very few companies, as you may know, are able to master data centers today. Almost all other companies in the market use large real estate players for their international expansion, and at some point, this is how they lose control on the overall ecosystem. And generally, regulation on this is very light and mainly deals with keeping the staff safe when there is an incident, and also, of course, protects the environment, which is good, of course, and absolutely fine by us. But my point is that it is the operator and the insurer who are actually responsible for the protection of the physical assets, which is a totally different topic. And as I already mentioned, we at Scaleway, we are the only triple-play cloud provider to offer all 3 services, which are, again, data center colocation, dedicated Hyatt servers, and a modern public cloud ecosystem. And because we control the whole chain of value, we can offer competitive pricing and innovative services while never compromising due to financial considerations. And when it comes to data center colocation, we are one of the biggest players in Europe. For many years, we have been hosting Gartner Magic Quadrant companies on our infrastructure, as well as many other companies which are well known in Europe. But let's be clear, our job is to plan for every eventuality. And each time an incident occurred, our automatic mechanisms worked perfectly and prevented our clients' assets from being affected. And that's the most important thing here. But resilience is not only a matter of mastering the whole chain of value, it's also our capacity to stay connected together as human beings, which leads me to the multi-cloud part of this presentation. So yeah, talking about the necessity to stay in touch with one another, this has never been more obvious in the past few months, even years now, since the beginning of this pandemic and the lockdown. And in that context, access to the internet plays a central role. And more internet, obviously, means more cloud. And it is not realistic to believe that European cloud players are able to address 100% of the cloud demand in Europe. Actually, we are far from being able to provide for even a third of this demand. But it's okay. It's just an obvious fact that we have to take into consideration and deal with, just as the fact that we, as European players, we could also not only deliver our service to end in Europe, but also in the other regions of the world. And we believe that the answer lies on an on-demand, multi-cloud approach that gives customers the ability to easily deploy any cloud services regardless of the provider. We also make it easy for cloud architects to design and deploy on Terraform, for example. This type of on-demand, flexible approach is the most logical way of dealing with the complex needs of clients. And we at Scaleway, we are very proud to contribute to the construction of tomorrow's cloud and infrastructure, and we have an open mind and a responsible approach in that way. So this is why, in a nutshell, we are the cloud that makes sense. And I will now hand it over to Rejah. And Rejah, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for covering the advantage of multi-cloud ecosystem and how Scaleway facilitate the privacy, resilience, and reliability needed in the cloud provider. Let me share my screen. Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm Rejah, co-founder of Beagle Security. I'm also a project leader of a WASP Foundation and author of 2 international books in cybersecurity space. Now I'll be sharing insights about how you can protect the data in multi-cloud environment. How to protect application and data in the cloud, in multi-cloud. With the rise of multi-cloud environments, it has given hackers a large attack surface, especially when you are using multiple public clouds. The more service or managed services you have running in the cloud, the higher the likelihood you will experience a misconfiguration or data exposure incident. A key concept to keep in mind is a shared responsibility. This model of the vendor, the shared responsibility model of the vendor and the customer. The most important thing to remember is that the provider is responsible for securing the cloud itself, but you are the customer. You are responsible for securing everything you put in the cloud, while the vendor take care of the data centers, servers, and other hardwares. The bulk of responsibility lies with the customer. You also need to ensure that your workloads are protected, data is compliant, and access control is properly governed. You must also aware about the significance of following the principles of least privilege. I wanted to especially emphasize on the importance of key management when it comes to the access control. Once we came across an instance where a company had set up a key with the access token with the maximum privilege with it, and finally it ended up in the wrong hands, and that adversary were able to spin up some instances or some instances that used for crypto mining attacks. And the truth is that this happens a lot of time. Following the best practices like rotating access keys on a 30-day basis, or revoking the keys that are not used in the or the keys of the employees who left the company. We have to clean that keys and rotate the keys on a regular basis. And this will help to reduce the security incidents like this. Another point to make sure that you are, as I mentioned, you revoke all the permissions and access for employees when they leave your company. And employee training, again, yeah, very important to avoid mishaps and common mistakes around the security in the cloud. Standardizing deployment is another option, or another thing, like standardizing deployment process across cloud ensure the network security and access policies and both standardized and enforced across all the clouds. And when planning with a multi-cloud in mind, aim to develop a single pane of glass for monitoring and reporting across your cloud service providers, because it can be so challenging to visualize or monitor and manage services and workloads across cloud service providers. You should tackle this challenge as early as possible. Like all cloud systems should have alerting mechanisms, alerting mechanism in place that will help you to find and remediate anything that is unusual happening in the cloud. Like whenever someone trigger a GPU instance or a container, and at that time the concerned person should receive a timely alert. On that note, complete visibility and observability should be a priority when implementing a cloud solution and whenever workloads are deployed. Cloud governance refers to managing people, processes, and things involved with the policies and standards of multi-cloud environments. This was the biggest challenge overall for cloud professionals, and the second biggest multi-cloud management process challenge for enterprises. So make sure to have a disaster recovery plan. Also, adapt a shift-left approach to this application security, such that the security of the application start at the beginning itself with the static code analysis and automated penetration testing checks or dynamic application security tests on a release-based, or you could integrate that with a CI/CD pipeline. So what are the measures you can take to protect your data against application-based attacks? That teams must prioritize visibility across cloud above everything to ensure that workloads are protected, misconfigurations are identified, and no sensitive data is exposed. That is a very important thing. Like we should have the visibility over the cloud. And another main point is that blob storage across the service providers. Like blob storage access should be taken care in the right way. Like public access to any blob storage should not be allowed. If access is needed, use access token or signed URLs. Otherwise, it will end up in the wrong hands. Once you have access control implemented, you must maintain continuous protection and compliance across workloads at all time. This can be achieved by deploying with native cloud orchestration solutions like Kubernetes, doing daily backup, as well as keeping redundant database instances. Also, encrypting your data in rest and transit, and also securing your APIs. Like embracing zero trust teaches us to never trust and always verify. That is, every access record should be fully authenticated, authorized, and encrypted before granting access. And to wrap up the most important thing is to do a regular vulnerability assessment and penetration testing on your web applications. So at Beagle Security, our primary aim is to help you protect your application from the latest cyber threats. Like Beagle Security is an AI-powered and completely automated penetration testing tool that allow you to find security weaknesses and misconfiguration in your web applications or website. So you are also provided with a detailed insight to understand how a particular vulnerability was exploited and recommendation to fix the issues. And the best part is that our tool is completely platform and technology agnostic. You can also integrate it with your CI/CD pipeline tools, project management software, and communication apps to build completely automated workflows. We currently have around 1,000 plus companies from 90 plus countries around the world using Beagle Security to proactively tackle application security, and being part of Scaleway was being the great step in our journey forward in terms of scaling our business. So why we choose Scaleway as our cloud partner? Being one of the most trusted names in Europe for everyone, everything cloud, we didn't have to think twice about choosing Scaleway. First of all, as we move towards GDPR, having a provider that is serious about GDPR was a priority for us. And coming to our products need, we have multiple Kubernetes clusters that need high computing power as we use various AI training models as part of our infrastructure. We need to scale our backend infrastructure as well going forward. So scalability and reliability is very crucial for us. Partner with Scaleway gives us access to the right resources to scale. We believe it's an amazing match because we see the same value here. Scaleway prioritize performance just like us. The great thing about Scaleway and what we see as a positive is that we have everything we need to scale under one roof, and moreover, with the level of customization and control we could need, be it GPU instances, bare metal cloud servers, or load balancing. It's all available, ready to deploy as when the demand arises, optimized according to our needs. So thanks for listening, and I hope you find information I shared useful. Yep.
Thank you very much, Rejah. Thank you for your presentation. This really echoes with and completes our approach about security and resilience. As I said at the beginning, I propose that we answer questions at the end of the talk. We have one topic remaining, as already mentioned, because security has joined Scaleway within Scaleway startup programs, and so I will hand it over to Luke, so you can elaborate on what it is to join Scaleway in that way.
Yeah, many thanks for that, Jan. And Rejah, great to see, I guess, how an alumni of the program has benefited from not only Scaleway, but also the good work that you guys are doing globally. So I wanted to start off very briefly and just giving an overview of what the program is and what the goal of the program is. So it's very much a time-limited cloud compute partnership program designed for startups. The idea is to effortlessly power your business offerings alongside our cloud infrastructure, combined with technical support, advisory, and advertising, and essentially along the way, leveraging our experts in channels to ensure that you guys have a smooth takeoff for your business in what is, let's be frank, the most testing period of the business life cycle, right? So a little bit more about the program. Completely sector agnostic. I mean, in 2021, everybody is taking advantage of cloud, so it really doesn't matter in which sector you sit in. Now, preferably, we do invite pre-seed to Series A startups, and that isn't because, that's the customer that we want to onboard. It's simply due to our time in the market has allowed us to identify those types of organizations gain the most value from the programs. We're completely international, having just moved into the UK market, although we do have that European base. You can see with Beagle Security based out of India, we can service customers wherever they are. And then finally, it's worth noting that we work very much in batch method. So what that means is from the 15th to the 15th of each month, we invite applicants to apply. From that, they will be taken to a selection committee, and then if accepted, invited onto the program. The beauty in the position that we're in today is that because of the success of the previous batches, we're looking to very much expand those applicants that are accepted. So now is as good a time as any to apply for our cloud compute startup program. And then finally, I want to dive into, I guess, the two different spheres of the program. So we very much understand that startups may be in a growth stage in which they're ready to commercialize, and then equally an early stage where they're still trying to take their idea to market. And this is how we differentiate the programs. So the only two key differences to really be aware of is the time in which you remain in the program and the cloud resource that will be at your disposal. Those slightly larger organizations that are ready to commercialize will be entered into the growth stage program, in which they'll be engaged with a year with our technical experts in program leads and be able to take advantage of 36,000 euros for the calendar year. Or if you're part of the early stage program, it'll be a 6-month program of which you get to take advantage of 3,600 euros in cloud resource. Now, although the cloud resource is there and we have that nominal fee, what we tend to find is no startup actually takes advantage of that, or all of that figure, let's say. The real value that we see in our program is the proximity that we have with the customer base, and equally the technical resource and how we go in and enable the scaling of the business. That's the really important piece. One final thing that I will note on the growth stage program is that you will be invited to engage on a podcast, and you can go and find those today via Spotify, and they'll be under the brand name Scaleway, and they're really just talking about not so much success stories and not so much actually us as a business, but just gives you an insight into the type of organizations that we've engaged with. So please do go ahead and look at those. But that kind of brings me to a close today, but by all means, if you do wish to apply, I know the guys will be sending out the links at the end, and if you do want to have a conversation myself, by all means get in touch. But I'll hand back to Jan, but many thanks.
Great, Luke. Thank you very much. I think we can wrap up for today. Thank you, guys, for sharing the stage. It's a pleasure to see you, and thank you all for attending that webinar. Speak soon.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks everyone.
Guys.